Not no, but hell no. He said,
Two
you're not
minutes.
gonna be on any, he told me in my face. Well, Tim Murphy, come on, you know that.
Yeah, it's all ashes to ashes, right?
Well, he
Dust to
told me
dust.
flat out, ain't happening. Or it's not happening.
It's on.
Yeah. You get this into the table.
You gotta learn to mute us down here on this end.
I was ready to begin.
Can't, it's not 5 yet. Shame on you, Jan. Starts at 5.
No, that's good. That quietens everybody down before 5.
Apple says it's 5.
I have to tell you, in my court hearings, I still do wish I had that mute button on Zoom. In some of my hearings at trial, I was like, oh, man, I wish I could get that person mute.
All right, everyone, it's 5 PM, February 21st, 2024, and it's time to call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. Mrs. Jones, roll call, please.
Mayor Barnett,
Present.
Mr. Austin,
Here.
Mrs. Gross,
Present.
Mayor Dukakis.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's all stand for the pledge. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Is there any announcements or public comments that is not on the agenda? Hi, Joanna.
Hello. Yes, Joanna Tennell with this planning department, there we go. Jeremy Helms is currently doing demolition at 40 East Jefferson Street and had come before the board requesting approval to place a dumpster and the scaffolding blocking the right-of-way. That was approved by this board to be completed by February 26th. This morning, Chief Snyder had indicated that he had noticed that the dumpster did not have any road protection under it. They have now placed all of that there. And Jeremy, or Mr. Helms, did apologize for the oversight. He stated that after they demoed the ceiling today, the client has requested some additional demo work and would like to request an extension to Friday, March 1st.
I don't really have any problems with that. I did notice that somebody got to them, and I was thinking maybe Mark, but it might have been Joanna about the plywood, and they did have that this afternoon. So I don't really have a problem with it myself. I don't know
What's
about
the
these two.
property address on this one?
40 East Jefferson.
It's
Right
the
out front.
same
It's
one.
the same, it's right
It's the
out
same
this
one,
way.
yep.
What about the one over here? Was there plywood on that one? Because I stopped this morning and was trying to look and see. It was dark.
I have not checked that one.
Okay.
So we need to check that one too, if you don't mind, please.
Sure.
Okay, and the reason we do that, just so everybody knows, we do that so it doesn't scar the road up and put dents in the blacktop, and it's there for the lifetime. That's why we,
It's usually the first thing we tell them and the last thing we tell them, and somehow it just doesn't quite get through.
And typically, there is a dumpster approval permit that is issued by the clerk treasurer's office that also has all that information on it. So they do get that in writing also.
okay. Well, I don't have any issues with unless the parks, there's no chip, there's no things that weekend, is there?
No, I don't know of.
Okay, so
When
I
is it
would
again?
make a motion to extend the
Friday.
request. Is it March 1st? Is that what you
Yes.
said? I would make a motion to extend the request and keep reminding everyone that they need to keep the plywood and under their dumpsters. And somebody also, this has nothing to do with the motion, but somebody also must have told them to make a chute where all the stuff goes down into the dumpster, because I seen they put a chute together too, so,
Yeah.
good job. So I made a motion.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to consent agenda.
Move to approve the Board of Works minutes from 2/5/24 and also the approval of claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
There isn't any old business, right into new business. Request approval of change order number 4 on the West Side Interceptor Project, Westler Engineering, and you're not Brad, but
I am Brad.
you're Brad?
I am.
Okay, I was thinking of a different Brad, but go ahead. Yeah. Inside joke there, don't worry about it.
Brett.
Brad, Brent, Brett, it's all the same.
Brett? No, I was just here to report that the overall project was a success. The contractor, SSI, was great to work with. Sally, Mark, thank you for all your help on it. The school, tenant, and then the storm sewer project on that north side of Brannigan Road. I drove it this evening, looks really good, and the Brannigan Road lift station is now offline, gravity flowing. There were a couple overruns on some pay items. There was a big cost savings on the undercut. No undercut was claimed by the contractor, which was a huge cost savings. The only outstanding item that I see right now is the settlement. There is dirt stockpile just east of 1064, East 260 North. And that dirt stockpile will be used to fill in the trenches on the north side of Brannigan and there by Franklin High School maintenance garage.
So it really helps when you have a good contractor to work with, doesn't it?
Yes,
Makes your job a lot easier.
yes.
Yeah, and you know that I've watched the jobs, and just like Mark and everybody else, but I was impressed on the project when it was done. They done a great job.
And all the testing was satisfactory. Didn't have any problems on that, so you got a good interceptor in the ground.
Okay, and just the rest of the board here knows, and I know they look over all the stuff and ask questions. The quantities is for the adjustment on the price.
Yes.
Yep, so, and I don't have any issues with that.
I'll move to approve change order number 4 on the West Side Interceptor project as proposed by Westler Engineering, Brad Robertson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Brad.
Did I hear you correctly? That's the end of the change orders, you believe? Or will we have one more?
Yes, the only thing I'll go back out and check on is the, making sure the trenches are filled back in, level to grade, seeded and strawed.
And that shouldn't be a change order.
Change order,
That's
just be
part
make
of
sure.
it.
No, that's more of a punch list item.
Okay, thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next item. Request approval of Discover Downtown Franklin
Mayor,
Spring. Yes, sir.
Can I ask Brad a question
Sure.
first? Hey, Brad,
Brad,
sorry for the interruption.
Almost got there.
We have an item coming up later, and I just want to confirm something. The utility, the telecom line that was exposed, that was an unknown on the Earlywood Drive project, was that Brightspeed?
I will have to go back and check my notes, but I believe it was.
I suspect it was, but I just want to confirm that, if you don't mind looking at that.
Okay, that was the one that was repaired, correct? Because there was one that was hit that knocked out, that was unmarked, that marked out a portion of the grid. That got repaired, and then there was one that was an unknown.
Okay, so which one was required the change order?
I will have to go back and check with Kate on that one.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind, and
Yeah.
it's not anything I need tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry about that.
It's all right. Okay, next item, request approval of Discover Downtown Franklin Spring Vintage Fest on April 27th, 24th, and Discover Downtown Franklin Fall Vintage Fest on 10/5/24. Fire Chief Josh Snyder.
Yes, sir. These festivals have been going on for quite a few years. They're just asking for some barricades. Chip, you guys keep those barricades there in the barn at the amphitheater, right?
We do have some, yeah.
Yeah, so they're just wanting some barricades put up around the amphitheater for the festival.
Okay, and I do know that they work real close with the Parks Department on doing these festivals.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay,
Yep, they went through everything they need to through Holly, and it's just me bringing it to the board for approval.
okay, thank you.
I'll move to approve the request from DDF for the Spring Vintage Fest on April 27th and the Fall Vintage Fest on October 5th. And we're approving the barricades to be put in place.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item, acceptance of bid and award contract for street department roof repairs project. Street Commissioner Brett Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Glad to see this finally coming to fruition.
I'm with you, brother.
Right. We did have our bid opening on February the 9th at noon. I'm sorry, February 8th, I believe. Didn't take long, as we only had one bidder, which was not completely unforeseen, but Moss Roofing was the bidder in a lump sum amount of $139,508.37. Did get all of the paperwork over to Ms. Gray, and believe all that was found to be satisfactory.
Yes, sir.
And so would like to have this board approve both the acceptance of the bid and then also issuance of a contract to Moss Roofing, if you would be so inclined.
And I'd like to thank Mark for having the contractor ready for us when you got the bid documents together. That really helped us. So I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah,
for
thank
doing
you,
that.
Mark. It was very helpful.
And I would just add, this is a difficult project in the sense of it's hard to find anybody that will do the work. It's unique, and if you'll recall, this is why we hired an outside, Dennis Drake, to be basically the construction manager, because it's not where you could just hire somebody to do the roof, hire somebody to do the parapet walls, somebody to do it's hard to find somebody that will do the entire thing. The bid came in under what they previously told us it would cost. So when I made that statement, it was under what the insurance, I think I was wrong. It was under what Moss originally said the
Had
cost would
quoted,
be.
right.
So it was good to rebid it again and to make sure there was nobody else out there to do it. But my concern was we wouldn't get anybody to do it, to be frank with you. It was very difficult. So
Okay.
I think it is in line with what we had from the insurance company. The insurance company did tell us to expect some hidden damages, as would be typical in this kind of a situation. It's taken a long time to get there, so I hope they don't push back and say it's been too long, but we've got to get it done. It's just, we've done the emergency kind of repairs to stabilize the wall, but it's time to get it move on, and I think they're ready to move, right?
Yep,
Moss is ready
yeah,
to move.
yep. And I've been in contact with the insurance adjuster throughout this process, so.
Right.
She too is very excited to
Have it done.
hopefully finally see a
And close
contract
the
in her
file,
hands
yeah,
as well, so.
yeah.
So just a question, Brett, with, so the quote is higher than what the insurance company said they want to pay, is that correct?
Yeah, their original estimate was $132,000 and some change, less, I think, some depreciation and our deductible. But when we originally had Moss look at it, they brought some things to our attention, so I then reached out to John Auld and said, hey, John, my biggest concern is that based on what because the insurance company hired an engineering firm to come in and look at all this, and then they made some recommendations, and then put sort of a work order together, if you will, and then obviously they adjusted against that scope of work. As Dennis and both Moss have looked at it, their concern is there's just so much unknown until we really get those first 5 trusses worth of roof off, and so the concern was, is what you see what we're gonna get? So we've had that conversation with John, who then also has had the conversation with Chubb, who is our insurance provider for that building. And they're understanding that they're anticipating some additional expense.
Okay.
And hope to at least negotiate with good faith on what's covered and what's not, so.
Okay, and I guess what my question was going to be, if they didn't do that, is it too late to file with FEMA?
We have filed with FEMA. So we
that's
have, I
still
think.
open, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so we should get up to, I think it's up to 10% of the cost of the project potentially back in FEMA dollars as well. So not a huge amount of money, but enough but it's been approved.
Okay,
And I think the 139 is lower than Moss's first estimate to us, but higher than the insurance
Yeah,
company's.
it's like, it's
6 or 7,000.
7,000, I think, higher, yeah.
It's in that ballpark, but if you look at the insurance, it's kind of like when you take your car in, they're gonna say, well, this is kind of what we estimate, but there may be additional damages that come in afterwards, so.
The
it's in
biggest
the ballpark.
unknowns, I think, are our main electrical box is right below this section of roof. And so there is conduit, there's the sprinkler system, and then anything that's powered east, which is the majority of our building, right, originates right under this section of roof. So there's just a lot of unknowns around downtime. You know, we're gonna have to get probably Moss, probably it'd be Yarnell or Davis via Moss, but to be able to make sure that we're able to continue to conduct business and not be down for months or weeks. And so we just don't know what those unforeseen costs are gonna be once they remove the section of roof, and then figure out what conduit we have to either splice or maintain so that we can continue to have power through the rest of the building. So those are some of those unknowns. And then the sprinkler system, you know, we're gonna have to probably unhook it in those sections, but then keep it functioning to where the roof, you know, to where we still have a building with a roof over it.
You know, and we're not unique to this. If you look, I mean, we had the tornado. Look at all the work that's still being done. The art craft is not done yet. The courthouse is not done yet. So this is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
it's taken a long time, but it's not been,
Right.
no one's been sitting on their hands just waiting on to snap a finger, right, and the roof be fixed. But it's just a process, right? I mean, when you got, nothing against insurance, but when you got insurance and then engineers and, you know, you add all these things
Nothing against
together, none of that
engineers.
equals fast,
Yeah,
right?
nothing
So-
against engineers either. So.
Well, you might as well throw the lawyers under the
Yeah.
bus too.
Right, yeah. I wasn't going to because you're looking back at me. Mark's behind me, so.
But, yeah.
So what you're asking for is a motion to move forward.
Correct, well, and
Basically, yeah, well-
approve this contract and move forward, because
Yeah.
honestly, my concern, and Brett and I talked about this, is that we wouldn't have anybody to do the job. It's a unique project.
Yeah, I was honestly shocked when we opened the bid because I had anticipating it being above their original quote just because it's relatively inexpensive to quote. But when you look at our 20-some page bid doc, there's a lot of additional work
Right.
that they put forth to put a price together. So I was honestly shocked when it was lower. So,
So, yeah, and asking you to sign the contract, authorizing them to go, because I think they're ready to go, and Dennis is ready to go.
yeah, they're ready to go.
So, as of now, the insurance company has approved 132,000
And
of
we have
this.
the funds.
Yes,
And we have the funds. So, right now, without any of the unknowns, we're gonna owe $7,000
Right.
plus our deductible. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then for the unknowns, you'll be able to negotiate with the
Yeah,
insurance.
they have said, yes, that they anticipate, you know, that there would be additional costs to the project. But
Okay.
hard to negotiate when we don't know what we're negotiating,
Right.
so.
And the deductible and the difference, you could fund with the FEMA funds, correct?
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
All right.
Isn't our deductible, Brett, is it 10?
10,000.
I thought it was 10, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I will make a motion to accept the bid from Moss Roofing for $139,508.37. And also
As the lowest, most responsible, and responsive
as the
bidder.
lowest, most responsible and responsive bidder.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I
thank-
will also make a motion to award the contract for the roof repairs to Moss Roofing for the same dollar amount.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Brett.
much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brett.
Okay, next item, request approval of change order number 2 for State Road 44 and Westview Drive pedestrian project, city engineer Mark Richards.
Thank you, Mayor. This is more of a housekeeping issue than anything else. It's a request to extend the completion date for the project from June 15th of 2022 to June 18th of 2022. There's no cost increase associated with this. It's simply for removal of some unsuitable soils underneath the trail.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 2 for the State Road 44 and Westview Drive pedestrian project.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item, request approval of change order number 3 through number 8 for the South Main Street reconstruction project, City Engineer Mark Richards.
Yes, there was a considerable delay on getting some of these change orders prepared due to negotiations between NDOT, the contractor, and the inspection firm. So I apologize for the amount of time that it's taken on this, but I will point out that on the heading for this item, change orders 3 through 8 is correct. On the documentation, there is no change order number 2. It's been approved several months or a couple of years ago, actually. This first change order, number 3, and if you don't mind, I'll just go through these one at a time if it's okay with you. This first change order is to add a 12-inch diameter end section to the contract. The amount of the change order is $800. There was no time increase in the change order, so would recommend approval of this. The only reason we had to do a change order is because there was not that size of end section in the contract, so it had to be added.
And I'm good with this change order.
You want them voted on separately, or do you want to explain them separately?
Well, I think because of some of the complexities of at least one of the others, we may want to just do it separately.
Okay.
I'll move to approve change order number 3 for the South Main Street reconstruction project for an amount of $800.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 4.
Number 4 is a price increase. It adds replacement of a cedar picket fence. When the contractor started, it was supposed to originally be a remove and replace, I'm sorry, remove and reinstall. Ended up a replacement because the fence was in such poor condition by the time the project started. The increase in this is $2,517.
I'll move to approve change order number 4 for the South Main Street reconstruction project for an amount of $2,517.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 5.
This change order is actually the reason I asked Brad Robertson, who was responsible for the part of the change order on the sewer project. This is a result of a delay of 15 days, and the contractor wants compensation for their superintendent on the job. CenturyLink failed to relocate their utility in a timely manner. We've gone through this with them in the past. My recommendation would be to authorize staff to, and Ms. Gray as well, to seek reimbursement from now Brightspeed for this delay cost. The amount of the delay cost is $5,431.07.
So on this one, Mark, I remember when this was going on, we had conversation with the people that was holding up the project, and they knew that we would be trying to get reimbursed.
Yep.
And I think we even had that discussion here at the Board of Works at that time when that happened.
We did.
We always send them a notice. There's a written documentation. Mark's office does a wonderful job because we've done this at least in 2 prior times and gotten the money. There's a documentation where we give them, prior to the beginning of the project, we give all of the utilities notice, here's our project, here's the time we need you to relocate out of our right-of-ways, and here's the date, and we give it all to, it's all documented.
And then they provide a work plan back to us.
Correct.
That identifies what their schedule will be.
Right.
And again, they failed to meet that schedule.
So on this one, though, I think what we probably should do, we need to pay the bill, and then we should okay this and then give Lynn the authority to do her magic with the letter she needs to send and try to get reimbursed.
that's what we've done in the past, because the contractor is owed it under our terms of the contract, but that's what we've done in the past.
Okay, so I'll move to approve change order number 5 for the South Main reconstruction project for an amount of $5,431.07. And also authorized Ms. Lynn Gray to pursue reimbursement of that amount from Brightspeed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 6.
This is the result of an unforeseen 10-inch diameter clay tile that was encountered during excavation on the project. It was an active field tile and had to be perpetuated. So the contractor provided a cost of doing this based on unit cost of the pipe. Total amount is $5,744.20.
I'll move to approve change order number 6 for the South Main reconstruction project for an amount of $5,744.20.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 7.
Pardon me, I'm looking at this, and it appears to be a duplicate. Well, no, it's not. An additional unforeseen clay tile, 10-inch diameter, was encountered. The cost for replacement of this section of pipe is $2,745.40.
So on this one, whenever you said it seems to be the same one, it appears to be the same tile.
It could be the same tile, but just a different section of that tile.
Okay, and I guess the point that I'm trying to make here with that one is, if it's the same tile and they knew there's a tile out there somewhere, they should have put a camera in it, tried to figure out where the tile's going, and then they don't
Don't
break it.
disagree with that.
Yeah, so,
Do you recall that happening, Matt, what the, when they encountered this tile?
so I mean,
Oh, okay.
Description from 6.
Yeah,
It's just an
okay,
extension.
yeah, thanks for finding this, because
You're fine.
I was not able to find it. Okay, so, let's see, in change order 7, it says the existing tile replaced with work in change order 6 is addressed in this change order. Due to elevation reasons and conflicts with other proposed structures, the new pipe was installed in a separate trench from the existing tile. Due to the condition of this clay tile, the city required its removal to prevent failures beneath the new roadway in the future.
okay.
So it's a related item, but it's not exactly the same.
Okay.
But it is
And it
related.
sounds like we requested that they do
Yes,
that. Okay,
yes.
that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
This was, again, probably 3 years ago that this occurred, so kind of forget things like that in that amount of time.
I'll move to approve change order number 7 for the South Main Street reconstruction project for an amount of $2,745.40.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 8.
And the last change order on this project is for curb removal. It was necessary to add an item to the contract for concrete curb removal that was necessary but not identified to be removed. The curb was placed, it was a monolithic placement adjacent to the sidewalk that had to be removed and replaced. So they couldn't remove the sidewalk without damaging the curb to the point of replacement. The amount of this change order is $2,527.35.
Mark, don't they have tools that you can just cut that straight down? I mean, a saw that's gonna cut straight through that? I mean, you're talking about a curb, we're not talking about
Potentially, can you,
a wall.
Some monolithic curb where they actually put rebar in, so I don't know if they found rebar in it or not, but sometimes that's just hard to see without the
Sounds like a bunch of power horse.
All right, I'll bite. What's a monolithic curb?
It's the curb and the sidewalk are poured in one pour.
Okay,
Generally, they pour with a joint between the two so that they're actually separate.
so, and what you're saying is sometimes you put the rebar all the way through both the curb and the sidewalk, and you can't cut one, keeps it level.
It's like an L,
Gotcha.
so.
So sometimes that curve, monolithic curve is about a foot and a half down on the ground as well. So you've got that big piece and the sidewalk all taken together.
Learn something new every day.
I'll move to approve change order number 8 for the South Main Street reconstruction project in the amount of $2,527.35.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So just, thank you, Mark. Just for the record, South Main Street was that an MPO project?
Yes, it was.
Okay, that's what I thought. So we did
Yeah.
get grants for that. And
We did, and actually, I think the entire cost of the project came in under the contract amount. So even though we have 6 change orders here with, they're all relatively small, and yeah,
They
the
reported
increase
9,000 under, yeah.
was just under $20,000, and we're still about $9,000 below the original contract amount, even with the change orders.
is this the final change
Yes.
orders for this? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, next item, request approval and execution of inspection supplement number 1 for the East Jefferson Street pedestrian project. City engineer Mark Richards.
This is a project that was actually scheduled to go to construction 2 years ago, and as everybody probably recalls, the bids came in high, not once but twice. We finally got good bids back in the fall. Because the contract for inspection was executed well prior to the, let's see, it was June 20th of 2022. The hourly rates for the consultant have changed. They've gone up some. They would like to be able to bill at those rates. However, they are keeping the contract limit at the same amount of $60,000. So there's no potential impact to the city of having to go above that $60,000 amount. That we're still capped at that.
It's still a
that
not to
figure.
exceed, but where it could be relevant, although we've never had it happen. But if, you only see the addendum here, but when we have these contracts, there's a provision in there that if we changed our mind and we terminated the project, they are entitled to be paid for performed and unbilled work. And so it would affect that rate. They would bill at the new rate, but it would we'd still be capped at the 60. But always buried in all of these contracts is a provision that if we decided as a city, we no longer want to do this project, they've got work that's outstanding, they will bill at that rate so as not to exceed 60. So I've never seen it happen, but it could potentially impact if we changed our mind halfway through a project.
Always have to look at the worst case, don't you?
Yeah, well.
No, I agree. I
Well,
agree.
I have to tell you, when they first started doing these, I kept thinking, well, what difference does it make? It's still a 60,000 cap. So I had to think it through, and that's where it would impact us, but we'd still never exceed the 60.
So you're gonna get less hours for the project because you're paying a higher hourly rate, correct?
Typically, this firm comes in
Lower.
lower, the contract amount is figured to basically protect them and make sure that if they have delays in the project or anything like that, then they're covered.
So you're not concerned we'll fall short?
No.
Okay.
And we did have a conversation yesterday with this firm that there's 3 other projects that are completed that they all come in under. One of them was like 39,000 under, so they're notoriously known for that. Not saying
Okay.
they will on this one, but.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I'll move to approve the I guess, contract and execution of inspection supplement number 1 for the East Jefferson Street pedestrian project.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next item, request approval of change order number 1 for the Earlywood Drive Sanitary Sewer Extension Project. City Engineer Mark Richards.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I had originally sent out this change order with an email that indicated that the amount of the change order would exceed the 20% limit in state statute. And after further research, and thank you, Ms. Gross, for bringing that question to my attention, because after doing some further research, I found that there are certain cost increases in a project that are not subject to that limitation, specifically unforeseen circumstances that are encountered. Part of this change order covers one of those unforeseen circumstances. There were some telephone lines that were not located because of the proximity to a gas line. They had to do some additional hydro excavation and bring in additional labor to do that work. The amount of that part of it is $5,485.42. That amount, which is not subject to that 20% limitation, amounted to about right at 6% of the original contract price. There was also a change order that we felt we had to do to avoid having to repeat work on the upcoming roundabout project this summer. We wanted to make sure that we got adequate backfill in the trench over the sewer pipe. So we added a stone backfill item. That amount came in at $14,951.44. That amount is about 16.2% of the contract price. So that is subject to the 20% limitation, but we are below that. So I would ask that the board approve this change order in the amount of $20,436.86. The original contract price was $92,145, and the new contract price would be $112,581.86. And I would also ask that the mayor be authorized to sign on the board's behalf.
I'd like to add too, Mark was kind enough to give me a heads up before this ever appeared on the agenda, so I got to look at the statutes before you looked at the statutes. I think sometimes it's important to understand, not, are we complying with the law, but are we also complying with the intent of the law? I mean, that, the letter of the law and the intent of the law. The reason that 20% provision is put in there is to make sure that governmental entities, when spending taxpayer funds, when they bid a project, they don't serial bid it to avoid bidding all the time. So you don't bid a small project and then increase it so that you're avoiding public bidding requirements. That's the reason for the 20%. The reason that they use the language of scope, you're not deciding to build a street over here and we're going to add a bridge and not bid it. But there's also that language, and the language is absolutely important. It says a change order issued a result of circumstances that could not have been reasonably foreseen allows for the provision that you wouldn't want to stop a project midstream and then turn around and, for something you couldn't anticipate, turn around and have to bid the whole project and probably cost the taxpayer a lot more. So that's the reason that provision is in there. So I have no concerns whatsoever that not only we're complying with the letter of the law, we're complying with its intent. We are not increasing the scope of the project.
And underground utilities are, the contractor, the design engineer, they both called in locates to have all of the underground utilities located both times, early in the design process and then during construction. Whoever was doing the locates failed to locate the facilities. So, everyone did what is reasonably expected to do, what they're expected to do to try and ensure that those things don't happen. But they happen way too frequently.
So being the smart ass that I am, I will just say that it's the utility, the cable utility companies, the phone companies, it's every time, and that's why I'm on them constantly. So, just had to say that.
Tara, it's okay, at least he wasn't the dumb one. Rather have the smart one than the dumb one.
So, Mark, I would just encourage you to, and I'm sure you already do this, but to document that portion of the change order was
Yes.
due to unforeseen circumstances.
And I spoke with Ms. Jones this morning
Yeah.
in the department head meeting and indicated that I will be preparing a memorandum that details this.
Yeah,
for
3
her
years
files.
later, nobody's gonna remember
Yeah.
why, so. All right. I will move to approve change order number 1 for the Earlywood Drive Sanitary Sewer Extension Project for an amount of $20,436.86, knowing that $5,485.42 was due to unforeseen circumstances. Is that okay?
Sign the mayor.
Second.
And authorize the mayor to sign?
Oh.
Wasn't that one?
Additionally, I would move to approve, to authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Kenny. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Last item, request approval of proposal and professional services agreement with Avenue for 2024 Payzer condition ratings and assessed management plan update. City Engineer Mark Richards.
Thank you. This is the last one for me tonight. We contracted with Avenue last year to do the pavement condition rating data collection and prepare the asset management plan. They also provided some additional scope. In this case, this year, they're going to continue with the pavement marking inventory that we also did last year. There's no increase in the price. It's $45,000. We also are getting access to what they call an optimizer. It's an app that uses AI to help you determine what is going to give you the most bang for your buck when you develop your treatment plans. We just got access to it recently. It's in a beta version right now. So we're going to be working with Avenue to kind of work the bugs out of it. So Matt and I are both going to be working to see how, what kind of plans it provides us. But we hope to be able to, probably later this year, bring that optimizer into a Board of Works meeting and show you what it does and show you what the output is and, you know, kind of play the what-if game and say, well, what if we put our funds here and just do all paving? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to give you the best return on your investment because your long-term Payzer ratings don't increase as fast. You need to do other treatment methods such as crack sealing, and there's a whole laundry list. I think there's probably 20 or 25 different treatment options that we can consider. We typically only do about 4 or 5 of those. So anyway, I'm excited about this, and I think it achieves one of the objectives I've had in going with Avenue last year in that it provides a lot of consistency and takes the human element out of the Payzer ratings. Because in the past, it's always been, you go out and you just get in a car and you drive every foot of roadway in the city. And then you look at those and come up with a rating based on what your eyeballs see. They're using technology that takes detailed scans of the pavement, and it can see a lot of things that the average person can't see. And then on a day-to-day basis, you may have had a fight with your wife before you left for work, and you're just in a bad mood, and you know, things like that happen.
So, Mark, we're also talking to them as well about rating our sidewalks, correct? At
Yeah,
some point?
yeah.
So
And they
expanding-
actually collected data for that, last fall.
Okay, so that was part of the
Yeah,
last year's.
we
stuff.
won't do that every year, but it's all done at the same time. I mean, they drive down the street and it scans, basically the right of way. They collected, street signs last year for us, so,
And
It-
it basically uses objective criteria rather than subjective criteria.
correct,
Right, and
Yeah.
similar to like the Google Earth thing that goes around and takes pictures of everything, it's out there
yes.
gathering
Yeah,
info.
and I was able to ride around with the gentleman that collected the data this past fall, and it's pretty interesting. I mean, it's basically a hood-mounted device hooked up to like a smartphone inside his cab.
It tells us where to spend our money to maximize it.
And right now, this is the only company that's doing this right now, correct?
I think there may be others out there doing it, but number one, this is a local company. And the other companies are not offering this optimizer as part of the package. So there's a lot of value added. And there are several different companies out there that do have the equipment, that they manufacture the equipment to collect the data. So a lot of it would have to be just selecting the right equipment. Last year, they used 2 different manufacturers and collected data. They had 2 setups in their vehicle, and they were able to collect data from both. And I think they came out with a clear winner between the 2. They also have the ability to purchase data from like Amazon, because all of their delivery trucks have this equipment, UPS, FedEx, so it's available. The only problem with that is there may be roads that don't get that they are not frequently driven by those delivery companies, so we may not be able to get all of our roads and streets in a given year.
Okay.
So this is good discussion, and I want to just clarify, in case the board doesn't know, we're required to do this to be eligible for community crossing grants. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's why we do this.
So this is going to kind of direct us on how we spend millions of dollars in road repair.
Yes.
So it's a small fraction of what
And,
we're spending.
you know, this year, the community crossings funding is available at $1.5 million per community. So for Franklin, we could do $3 million worth of paving at half price. Yeah.
Okay, good investment. All right, I will move to approve the proposal for professional services agreement with Avenue for the 2024 Pacer Condition Ratings and Asset Management Plan Update.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. There isn't any other business. We'll just start with department reports. Sally, we'll go with you.
I don't really have anything today, thank you.
Okay, Mark, you haven't said enough. You got anything?
Just one thing, yesterday, the mayor, Matt and I did a 3-hour drive around and looked at all the alleys that we want to reconstruct this summer. This will be really the final year for this project for a while. But I'd like to request that the board authorize me to advertise for bids for the 2024 alley project.
I'll move to approve authority to Mark to, I guess, solicit bids for the alley projects.
Perfect.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have, unless you want me to just
No.
announce to everybody that you were elected to the MPO Administrative Committee today.
I was, so.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's a big deal. It really is.
And the more fun is that we knock Carmel off, so
Ooh,
that makes it
even better. Is the mic on.
That's all I have.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Brett?
Just publicly recognize our department. My guys did a great job. It snowed at the world's most inconvenient time on a Friday afternoon, evening, and then was gone 24 hours later, but it wasn't for naught. They did a great job. I was the fortunate recipient of the worst yard job that we did in the city, so I was proud of that. And I thanked them for that this morning, but no, in all seriousness, I think it went as well as it could have. Not joking about the yard job, but, and then secondly, somebody that probably doesn't get a lot of recognition for what he does, but Doug Roller, who does our code enforcement, has been doing a great job with partnering with some local youth ministry groups and pastors throughout Franklin, and has organized a couple of like community cleanup days, and he's had a lot of success with that. So it's been well received. Like I said, not always the most it's probably a thankless job most of the time, but I think he's been doing a great job of trying to coordinate some things between the public and the city. So just want to publicly recognize him for those efforts.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dana?
Starting the first Friday in March and proceeding the first Friday of every month ongoing, Discover Downtown Franklin will be hosting Shop the Blocks. So our downtown merchants and restaurants will be open until 8 p.m. on those evenings. So you can come down on a Friday night and you can do some shopping and get some dinner and be later than you usually are and have a great time and support our downtown.
Thank you, Dana. Sherry?
Business as usual. I'll be filing liens in March. That's not a happy thing, but it has to be done, so.
Okay, thank you. Chief?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Deputy Chief?
Nothing for you, sir.
Chip?
Got a lot of things going on behind the scenes, eclipse planning and hiring 150 part-time staff. And the major thing I have is there's finally kids in the room, and I can announce that the Easter egg hunt is on March the 23rd at 10 a.m. So the only people in the room that care.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Ken, you have anything?
I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Tina?
Nothing, Mayor.
Jan? And Tara sent me a text, said she had to go out of the room and has no updates. Ms. Gray?
No,
I
sir.
have no updates. Thank you, and yes, our street department and parks department, everybody working together did a great job through the snow, and I appreciate that. So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks for bailing me out.
No, you're good.